Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Rapid Growth Extreme Z Battle Road. Extreme Z Battle Road. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. But anyway, we're here to do the Extreme Z Battle Road for Rapid Growth. Now Rapid Growth is a very interesting category. It's not necessarily that it is a incoherent category, it's just that it's got like very distinct kind of team builds within it. So it's one of those categories where you have like an A side and a B side that distinctly work well together, instead of having like a coherent category that has like a base link set. Like Hybrid Sands is a great example of like a coherent category. Most of them have Prepared for Battle or Saiyan Lineage or Fierce Battle, all in the family for Goku's units, and then Royal Lineage for like Trunks units. Rapid Growth is not like that. Rapid Growth has like distinct subsets of units within it that work really well together or don't work well at all. Now we're using a Universe 6 variant of it, which is fine. I think Universe 6 is kind of the go-to category for me when it comes to Rapid Growth, even though they've not really received enough buffs to kind of make them super duper solid for it, but I mean, they're pretty good. The big thing with Universe 6 is basically hit. So tech hit still to this day dominates ESBR and SBR. He just does. He just is that guy when it comes to ESBR and SBR. He's just got the perfect kit for it. Basically he's got that medium chance of stunning all enemies as long as you have Universe 6 category characters in your rotation. He reduces the attacked enemies attack by 20% and defense by 80%. He's got a high chance of stunning in both his passive and in his super attack. So he's just like really good. Having double hit is a cheat code to so many SBR and ESBR that it's just insane. And hit is, he is that guy. Alongside him, just to change it up, because the double hit build is, always it's always reliable. So just to change it up, obviously went for Kale as our friend lead. Now Kale's fine. Kale, does need a little bit to get going. She needs to fire off super attacks first, but when she does, she's very, very strong. She has that 60% damage reduction that's possible. She also has all that, great chance of launching a super attack and everything, which is great. And then obviously when she goes SS2, that's when things really get a bit nutty. She's got that guarding all attacks, additional defense of 160%, that just all that really nice stuff in general. That's really, really awesome. So yeah, Kale's really good. Obviously she doesn't bring much utility. Hit covers us pretty much for utility, although ideally you'd want to bring more. Even the AGL hit from the World Tournament's not a bad choice yet. You need dupes in him and everything, but he has that medium chance to stun. He has that debuffing as well. He's like a baby version of hit, and anytime you can get him is pretty good, I would say, at least from my side. But yeah, so hit, obviously champion of the realm here, definitely doing some big damage. Then we've got Tech Khalifla, who's great. Obviously has her evasion dependent on how many units in the rotation or on the team are currently Universe 6. Because the whole team is, she's basically good to go. So remember, she gets 8% per Pepe Universe 6 or Pepe Gals. So if a unit is both, they count as 16%. So basically, she gives herself an automatic 16%. And then the Kale in the rotation gives her another 16%. Then the Kale and Khalifla and the Kale, the other one. So you get what I'm saying. She's got a high chance of evasion, like very high. So she's huge as a tank, and definitely could run this for a no item run. Then you have the Kale, the Strength Kale. Really good, by the way. Like, Strength Kale is really, really good. Her and the Khalifla are just going to be waiting like a very long time for their EZAs, because they were just done way too broken to begin with. I can see why they're holding off on their EZAs. Kale is great. She's got that guard mechanic as well, which is super duper great. So she can actually tank pretty well. She will take a lot of damage from supers, especially if she hasn't got a couple of super attacks off with no item, but with an item she tanks perfectly fine. She tanks really, really awesomely. So yeah, the KL Khalifalas, they all do well. The LR is a bit so-so for SBR and ESBR. The LR in general, their Extreme Z Awakening was kind of a bit so-so. The LR needs time to build up to really be a force to be reckoned with, but still does an okay job. Just not necessarily, like, doesn't bring a lot of utility, and isn't necessarily bringing distinctly more damage than other units. If you really wanted to kind of look at maybe like using Universe 6 to no item, you're probably better off with physical Kefla, just due to the fact that she has that innate evasion, and she's really solid. Or alternatively go for the strength Kefla or the tech one, but now the tech one kind of suffers the same issue because they have to build up, and they just don't have enough really to do so. Unless you have them rainbow, then they build up really quickly. But yeah, that's kind of it for the team build. On the free-to-play side, there's a couple of decent choices, but we just went for the Int Khalifa, and we also went for the Tech SS2 Kaba. Int KO, sorry, really solid. She's got that really good support mechanism, which is great. I think is super duper important to making her do well. And then Kaba is just great as like a floating unit. He doesn't necessarily do anything crazy, but he is just fine. Like, he's just fine. Again, also kind of like just a solid off-rotation damage dealer, who does okay. Again, nothing spectacular, but not too bad in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly speaking, hit carries. If you want to do this no item run, just run double hit engine, get the stun off, and you're basically done. Like, you could no item run this relatively easily with just double hit. You just need to get lucky with your passive. So as long as you've got a full Universe 16, you run double hit, you'll basically dominate this one. It's really not one that's too hard. It's pretty straightforward. Aside from that, yeah, there's like an Android Cell Saga team you can definitely do. There's a Hybrid Sands team you could do. But for me, personally speaking, none of them really feel too demonstrous. Like, none of them feel super powerful. There is a team you can do, and you can build with like Tech Power Reckoning Piccolo maybe. It's a good team. But yeah, for me, Universe 6 feels the most cohesive. Rest of the teams probably have better individual units, but just don't feel necessarily maybe as cohesive or just as fun. Like, I like the whole hit gamble thing. I think it's quite enjoyable for me, personally speaking. But yeah, realistically, honestly, really nice stuff. And yeah, I think this team does a great job, and I think overall this ESBR was a lot of fun. Of course, with Hit, any ESBR is fun. He's one of those units where he shows that designing a unit not necessarily for the hardest content, but for like a game mode, like ESBR and SBR, can still work. I mean, Hit still works so well after all this time. It's just really good. Like, it's really impressive. I mean, he himself, his EZA is almost like 3 years old. So yeah, cool.